shall be satisfied with holding thy form. Bože, spazi mas.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everybody to our meeting tonight. Glad to have you here. I formally call this meeting, this regular meeting of the Harlingen City Commission to order. And at this time, ask for citizen communication. I think we have two who have signed up.
We have Ron Lozano.
Okay.
Mr. Lozano?
Right now, I have a louder one later on.
Go ahead.
As we've just heard, it's better not to beguile. So, in the consent agenda, there's a reiteration that participatory democracy is better fulfilled having an election in November. And I think by the mayor's own math, we found out that there could be instances where that would occur until until 2040. But there's another basis, and that is also mentioned that by allowing the county to oversee these new Republican initiatives to diminish the vote, I'm not going to suggest that the mayor wants to do that just yet, but we're going to be better off having Remy oversee these elections when these auditing comes up very quickly. And I'll reserve for the other item.
Well, you're going to have to do it. If you've signed up for the consent agenda, you need to do it now.
No, I put that, and there's a zoning issue coming up.
Item 4.
And as you all know, under the rules cited 551.007.
All right. Okay.
It says you can talk at the item.
The zoning variance?
Right.
Is that the one? Okay. So Mr. Aguilar, is he
Mr.
here?
Aguilar?
Mr. Israel Aguilar?
No, he's not
Okay, so
present.
we'll
I'm
call
going to
him.
give him a call. Hi, Mr. Aguilar. This is Myra with the City of Harlingen. You signed up for the public comment?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the clock. You have 2 minutes to address the commission.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, and good evening, City of Harlingen Commission and Mayor. I was just wanting to speak a little bit about on the presentation today on the Humane Society and how important it is the work that they do in the community. I think there has been a little bit of confusion between the services that they are providing and roles that animal control has. And so I'm very glad to be able to hear the presentation, and I'm glad to see that glad to know that the city is supporting the work that they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
That's it. We don't have any more.
All right, that concludes our citizen communication. So item 1 are recognitions and presentations. And the first one is a recognition to the Harlingen High School South Hawks football team. So if we could ask the team and their coaches and parents if they'd like to come on up here and join me, and Commissioner Pettis, if he wants to join me as well. How are you? Good. And so kind of put your backs against the wall and look at this nice young lady out here with the mask on. She's going to take this picture. And so is he anybody's teacher here? Because I can get you extra credit.
I want to turn sideways so you probably can't do it.
There you go. All right, well, I'm sorry you're not in his class, because I think I could have arranged. If I was going to ask you if you thought he was a good teacher, if I said it's a yes, I think it's 5 extra points on the final exam. But no, I don't know what's going to happen on that one. So this is such a great recognition. I'm so pleased to be able to stand here with the commission and the public and recognize this outstanding group of young men who had an undefeated regular season. And how often does that happen? Not very often. So we want to recognize you for that, and we're going to present this plaque to you that says, "The City of Harlingen congratulates the Harlingen High School South Hawks football team for an incredible season. This year's Bird will win and 32 6A undefeated district champions. 2021-2022 athletes Xander Casares, Marcos Gonzalez, Jeremiah Rivera, Levi Ince, Devin Montemayor, Elias Ledesma, Jaden Galindo, for their good sportsmanship, spirit, dedication, and victorious season. And to Israel Gonzalez III, head coach, athletic coordinator, head football coach, for your endurance to succeed, underscored by your confidence in the Harlingen High School South Hawks football team, presented on this first day of December 2021 on behalf of myself and the entire City Commission. So we congratulate you. Your community thanks you for making us so proud of our Harlingen South football team. Congratulations.
Guys, I'm going to be honest, the undefeated season is great and fantastic, but for me, because I'm a Hawk too, I graduated from South, for me the big thing that you guys did this year was the Bird Bowl. I mean, that was a long time coming, but you guys went there and I was at the game, and when you guys won it, it was just like, so thank you for that. That was awesome.
While I'm not a Cardinal, I raised 3, so.
Guys, if you don't mind, because these guys are Cardinals, and they don't know how to twist the Hawks, so they're showing them.
Get a picture with the rest of the committee. Come on over here. Oh. Now we're ready.
Coach, where's the rest of the team?
So,
Oh, so you picked the field? Okay. Oh, okay, great, awesome.
Don't worry, I'll cut off the bottom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect, thank you.
thank you. Thank you again. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, the next thing we've got on the agenda is item 1B, a presentation by the Humane Society of Harlingen.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Luis Quintanilla, and I'm the Executive Director at the Humane Society of Harlingen. I've been there for just short of 2 years. So is this the controller for?
Yes.
Okay, great. I apologize in advance if I'm technically challenged. So the Humane Society of Harlingen is located north side of town, 1106 Markowski Avenue. We're open 7 days a week. We have an intake of approximately 4,000 animals annually. We currently have a staff of 15, and we are the RGV's only no-kill shelter as of today. And Harlingen really is leading the way. So a little bit about what no-kill is and what it isn't. So no-kill as a philosophical term, really, or philosophical principle, is saving every single cat or dog that can be saved. So those who are not in any sort of irremediable suffering, things like that, or in some sort of behavioral state that's not rehabilitatable. So there's no set definition, but it's saving everything you can save, and a typical benchmark is saving 90% of that annual intake. Currently, we sit at a save rate of about 92.8% for the year so far. Our busiest season has already passed. Hopefully nothing will surprise us, but we've held steady over 90% for nearly 2 years now. So we're really proud of that. So, you know, in 2019, our save rate was only 49%. That jumped up throughout 2020 to 92%. Our staff was cut in half. We had to make some difficult decisions, but we needed to adapt to the reality of COVID and the uncertainty that came along with that with our fundraising. But we adapted, and this chart shows our progress. So 2019, our save rate was far below 90. And 2020, beginning in March, we hit that benchmark, and that life-saving momentum has continued to this day. So year to date, we are still at 92.86%. Our biggest challenge is our lack of space, but that kind of goes along with the territory in South Texas. If anybody's been at our shelter, they understand that space is pretty dire. So we work out of a broom closet. I share an office with 5 of my staff, and at any given moment, anywhere from 5 to 7 dogs. So, but we make it work, and we're very proud of that. But the main thing that we really want to highlight is the fact that we are not merely a dog pound. We are not merely an animal shelter. We are a community resource center. And although we only intake 4,000 animals annually, we serve almost double that amount throughout the community with our low-cost vaccination clinics that are held monthly. That number is surpassed 7,000 within the last 12 months alone. And many of those vaccines are not only low cost, but free. And we've also microchipped over 1,500 animals in the last 12 months as well. So that does generate some revenue to keep our operations, to help keep our operations sustainable. But really, that's an investment in being proactive, because we know many of those animals may end up at our shelter as strays. And we know that if they're vaccinated, their immune system is going to be bolstered, and they will be microchipped, which means they can be reunited with their owner much more rapidly. So it's much more involved than merely playing with puppies and cats all day. We do that, but we do much more than that. One of the really exciting partnerships that we're just so proud of is our partnership with HCISD. They have an amazing vet tech certification program, and I sit on the board of that, the advisory committee, and we're just so happy to see that next generation of animal lovers come into our shelter every single week to really make a difference. They're getting hands-on practice that they wouldn't get otherwise, and we're really proud to be a part of that enrichment for them. And I'm just in awe at their maturity. I don't get it. When I was that age, I had no idea what I was doing, and these kids are so mature and so poised, and we're just so happy to facilitate that. Every single month we have low-cost vaccination clinics, as I mentioned, so they actually get to hands-on practice with vaccines. They get to draw the meds under the supervision of a vet and vet tech, so it's a great experience. We also have in-house spay and neuter that we pay for. We get relief vets and relief organizations to come down and work out of a tiny little room. Less than 2 years ago, it used to be our euthanasia room, and more than 70% of the animals were euthanized less than 2 years ago. Now we're saving over 90% of them, and we're using that same space that was used for euthanasia now for surgeries. So it's a complete transformation. We're very proud of that, and the students get to take part in the recovery process for the surgeries, and it's just really exciting to be at that forefront. Harlingen really is leading the way. You can see at this chart right now, this table, it shows what we do and for how much. So we're the only ones that check all the boxes in South Texas. Harlingen is leading the way in South Texas. In fact, our save rate was so improved over 2020, even throughout the chaos of COVID and everything else that happened, that we were actually recognized on a national scale by Best Friends Animal Society. They're the largest animal welfare organization in the country. They've invested hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in the RGV, and we were recognized for having the highest improvement in life saving throughout the entire country. We beat out almost 4,000 other shelters, and we don't even have a vet. And it's pretty amazing. It's a massive victory for Harlingen, so we have a lot to be proud of as a city. And as you can see, so that breakdown, the taxpayer contribution per animal, it breaks down to $71 per animal. I arrive at that number by dividing the annual contribution of the city by the number of animals we get annually. And it actually costs $192 per animal. That's the actual cost that goes into caring for each one. We are responsible as a private organization to raise that difference. a lot more could be unlocked if we had greater contribution from the city, but as you can see clearly, we're a solid investment. Our neighbors at Cameron County Animal Shelter don't check hardly any of the boxes, and they get almost the same dollar amount per animal, and they actually take in less than half of what we take in. So it's pretty exciting, the fact that we can do so much with relatively little compared to especially Palm Valley. Palm Valley gets over $230 per animal, and they're not even no-kill. So we are very excited at the fact that Harlingen has made a commitment to really serving the community in ways that it hasn't ever before, and it's really exciting because it's really not about just the four walls of our tiny shelter. It's about so much more. I think it's incredibly appropriate that we fall under the health department because it's not just about pets, it's about public health. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of promoting that interest. Every single animal that leaves our shelter, let me go back to that slide, leaves vaccinated, on preventative for heartworms and dewormed, on flea and tick treatment, and every single animal is also spayed or neutered prior to adoption, or they are given an appointment to come back to get that spay or neuter procedure within 30 days of that adoption, and it's absolutely no cost to the adopter. So whereas our counterparts in Cameron County are sending out animals unvaccinated and unsterilized, we are not doing that. We are making a commitment to public health and trying to get around the problem, because that really is the root of the issue. It's not so much just about bailing ourselves out every single year. Clearly we can do that. We've been doing that, but that's only going to get us so far for so long. What we really want to address is the root of the problem. We say that Harlingen is a safe place for pets, and it is. We are a no-kill shelter, but it's like saying a forest fire is put out, but really it's only one tree. The surrounding trees in the valley are still ablaze, and we have to absorb that daily. We get calls from all over the valley, all over Cameron County, and they want to surrender animals to us. They have no ability to do it anywhere else, or they are afraid that they're going to drop off an animal at a shelter that's a high-kill shelter, and they know that Harlingen is their best bet. So that's what we are all about at the Humane Society of Harlingen. You know, and like I said before, one of the biggest challenges is space. And I've been approached by several, city officials, a ton of concerned citizens asking, what can we do about space? Would a bigger shelter help you? Would a bigger shelter help you save more lives? And the short answer is, of course, yes. We absolutely could use a bigger shelter, but what we really need is a better shelter. Our shelter, like most municipal facilities, was designed with a different philosophy in mind. It was designed as a pound, it was catch, and mostly kill. We have to adapt our life-saving programs to fit a building that really wasn't designed for that. And we could use some more kennels, that's true, that would be great, but really what I'm most excited about is the opportunity to, at least someday, hopefully in the near future, is to provide more of an educationally focused facility for those students that are really representing the solution to all of our problems here in the valley as far as the overpopulation of stray pets goes. That's something that we're really happy to be a part of, and I hope that we can grow that. In fact, this past summer we met with Senator Lucio and Dr. John August. He's the dean of the School of Public Health over at Texas A&M, and we're looking at hopefully potentially partnering in the future. It's a ton of interest from a ton of different stakeholders in education, in public health, and just our pet owners that all coalesce for this really good, really nonpartisan work. So, yeah, that's a little bit about what we do.
Mayor, if I could just provide a recap on what the city provides to the shelter. We do give them $287,000 a year for their operations. We also own the facility that they're in, so we maintain that. And then we provide $12,000 for the electricity, because we pay for that also, and $5,700 for the use of water. So all told, the cash contribution to the shelter is about $304,000 a year for their operations.
And our total expenses for the year prior and projected for this year are about $800,000.
Did you happen to look at the other property?
We didn't have a chance last week because of the holidays, but we're going to go out there this week to look at it. That's a structure on Taft. Right. Yes, I did drive by it though, and it's in pretty bad shape. It's going to need a lot of work.
It's good.
Yeah, but we're going to go look at it this week sometime.
All right. So does anybody have any questions?
Just on a round number. Just on a ball figure, how much would, like, the facility that you're talking about that would change the philosophy of the one we currently have, just on the ballpark figure, how much would that cost, give or take?
Ballpark, we met with an architect maybe about 6 months ago, used to serve on our board. we came at a figure of about $4.5 to $5 million, and it's basically going to be a clinic with some shelter cladding around it. We want this to be a venue for relief vets to come in, as we do already. We've already hosted surgeries in excess of 4,000 cats and dogs just in the last 12 months. And we want to maximize that. We want to improve that because that's really the solution. That's really the root of that problem of overpopulation. It's lack of access to veterinary care. And I don't want more kennels. I want more surgery space and more funding to get those vets down. We get them once a month, but I'd like to increase that. But that's really what the solution is more increased access to vets, because for the 2 million people in the valley, approximately, there's only maybe 20 to 25 clinics, only 2 of which are low cost. So the need is dire. There's over 150,000 stray pets roaming the streets of the valley every year.
And other than a facility, how else could this help you?
So other than a facility, increased funding would go directly to surgeries, 100%. I have a list of relief veterinarians who are ready and willing to come down and work. It just costs a significant amount of money. 2 weekends alone, if we do a really mass spay-neuter marathon, approximately 500, it's going to come out to about maybe $15,000 per weekend. So it's quite a bit of cost. But that's the need, that's the demand. In fact, about 3 months ago, we opened it up to the public. We've been just doing all of our adopted pets to make sure that we're holding up to our responsibilities. But we did open it up because we had some extra surgery spots. We had about 150 spots, and all of those spots vanished within about 30 minutes. People flooded the shelter signing up for it. So the demand is great, and that's what we need. We need increased access to vet care, and we can be that leader. And we already are. We already are the leader in the valley. And I just want to continue that.
Okay. Any other questions?
You said
go ahead.
You said 4.5 to 5 million for a new facility?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And besides the facility and the increased funding, is there any other way we can help you?
Unless any of you all are vets and want a job, no, not really. So obviously spreading the word, right? There are a ton of ways, right? There are a few ordinances that are, maybe a little bit. I think they need some revision, or at least to be looked at again. By minds greater than my own, I can offer the expertise from the ground and work from there. But clearly, we've worked around it. There are some outdated pieces of legislation on the books. There's a pit bull ban. It makes no sense. It's not based on any science. If a pit bull is found running at large, not having caused any damage to property or person, it's still mandated to be put down. That's a crazy ordinance.
Okay. Well, it's a fantastic partnership and between the city and the Humane Society. I don't think either one of us could do it as well without the other, and so
Absolutely.
It works as you pointed out, the best operation in the valley, and you're to be congratulated for your leadership. Your board is to be congratulated for their leadership. They've done a phenomenal job, and they have, as you pointed out, really dramatically changed how you operate and the success rate that you all have had over the last few years. And it's just fantastic to hear the recognition that you received nationally because you deserve it. And we're very proud of this partnership, and you all do a fantastic job operating this service for the community. And so, thank you, and thank you for doing it. It's we know that it's not easy, and it's 24/7, and you're always having to make this work and continue to raise money, because we don't supply even. Just under half of your overall operational budget. So that takes a lot of work to raise the rest of that money. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. And it's really the residents of Harlingen. That's really who has led the way here. They've made that commitment, and the vast majority of that gap comes from those $5 donations at the counter at the local business, right, or local restaurant. So we're very grateful to everybody who's been a part of it, because we couldn't do it on our own. For the vast majority of the last 2 years, there's been less than 10 of us on staff. So we're very grateful to the city of Harlingen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation tonight. Go on to item 2, which is the approval of the regular city commission meeting minutes of August 4th, 2021. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If there are none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 3A through C, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those opposed? Okay. Item 4 is consideration and possible action to approve a variance to the subdivision ordinance to allow a 14-foot dedication of right-of-way along Dixieland Road as opposed to the 34-foot dedication required as per the adopted thoroughfare plan for the proposed Bothwell subdivision located at 1401 Dixieland Road. Applicant Meldon and Hunt on behalf of Rick Caballero.
Mayor, City Commission, good evening. We have a proposed subdivision on Dixieland Road. It's across the street from the high school, across the street from the racetrack to be more specifically. So there's a vacant, well, it has a house, an old house. The new owner wants to demolish the old house and build a small commercial plaza in the property. So he's going to be going through the subdivision process, but he's requesting a variance to the right-of-way dedication to allow a 14-foot dedication as opposed to the 34 feet required by the thoroughfare plan. The 14 feet will be this line here, and then the 34 feet is this line here. The variance is in line, the variance request is in line with previous variances that have been granted. To go back, this line reflects a 40 feet of right-of-way from the center of the road, which is in line with other variances that have been granted in the past. All the subdivisions, which are also in Dixieland, kind of like in the mall area, they all got variances in the past where they all have 40 feet of right-of-way from the center of the road. So this variance request is in line.
Can you go back to the previous slide that shows the overhead or the overview? That one?
Yes.
So the variance that you're requesting, is it in line with either the trailer park or the businesses that are south of that?
No, because this area is already developed. So the right-of-way line is like here, and then it will be 14 feet like there, and then go back.
So, okay, I'm sorry, say that again?
This area to the south and to the
Right.
north.
So the daycare that's there, I think that's a daycare, correct?
Yes.
On the bottom. Are they at the 40 feet or are they at the?
No, they're less.
30?
They're less because it's an older development, and that's why I think it's like 30 feet from the
30
center.
Oh,
Yeah.
30 feet, right? And then the trailer park?
I think it's also 30 feet from
30
the center. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I understand it. You want to bring this development even further to the street? Or
No.
allow them to build further to the street?
Yeah. If the proposal is to allow a dedication of 14 feet, which is in line with the other subdivisions by the mall, as opposed to the 34 feet that is required by the ordinance.
So wouldn't that create a traffic problem when they're trying to exit out? And Dixieland's a very busy street. Doesn't that create a when they're coming out, whether it's the daycare or the adult retirement community, and they're being obstructed because of
the site? I do not believe so. The site plan, after the subdivision process goes through and is recorded, then there's a building permit application for the commercial plaza, and that's when the engineering department reviews the permit for traffic hazards. So the engineering department will not approve the permit unless they meet the safety requirements for entering and exits. So they have distance requirements from other entrances, and the engineering is really good about checking for that.
Okay, so I need to have one more question. So you stated earlier that there's other variances, the same at
Correct.
14 feet?
No, to allow the 40 feet from the center of the road, all of these subdivisions by the mall area, they were granted variances to be allowed 40 feet from the center of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So this variance request is in line is in line with those variances.
But you're
The
asking
14 feet will be 40 feet from the center of the road.
It'd be is it 14 feet or?
The 14 feet dedication, which is this,
14.
will
And
will be 40 feet from the center of the road, 40. So it's in line with the other subdivisions along in the mall area. So it's consistent. The variances request is consistent with other variances granted in the past by previous city commissions for developments along Dixieland Road.
That's good.
So we're still getting dedication of right-of-way, but not the 34 feet required by the ordinance. You know, if the variance is not granted, a lot of the property gets lost to dedication of right-of-way, and so the property owner is stating that development will not be feasible because so much land will be lost to the dedication of right-of-way.
So if the ordinance continues to have to be overwritten, why is the ordinance in place?
Yes, and that's something that we discussed with the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Because
yes,
a couple of years ago, you said you were going through all the ordinances,
correct,
all the requirements, and we only modified one,
correct.
right? So did we not look at Dixieland, or?
Yeah, I think that's a roadway that we need to look at
No,
because
that was my
Yeah.
question was, did you look at that? Because you said you were reviewing all the ordinances, right? You were doing a study of all the ordinances. and
Yes,
you were
but
gonna
not-
change because of the same problem, right?
yeah,
The same problem, that if over and over again, it has to come to the commission to get overruled,
yes.
you know, then why is it in place, right?
Yeah, I think the thoroughfare plan, there was a study done a few years ago by a consulting firm. So I think it may be good to evaluate the thoroughfare plan to do a comprehensive study because, in my opinion, the designation for Dixieland Road is too much. It's too much.
Because
And that's-
if that plan was, I would say, because I grew up in that area, Dixieland Road used to be a 2-lane street,
Well,
right? And now it's a huge,
it's the same designation as Ed Carey. I mean,
well, I know, but
Does it-
what I'm
yeah.
saying is that the growth of it
yeah,
has I mean, it's just booming. Once the mall came out there, and it was a little store and then the mall and all that, and there used to be a movie theater, right? The drive-in movie theater in the corner where Pep Boys is. But it was just a small little street. So again, we're trying to enforce a rule that's 40 years old, you know.
but that's something I can work on with the Planning and Zoning Commission to do a thoroughfare plan study for the whole city. That's something that I can work on.
And I think we can do that in-house, Commissioner. We won't have to hire a
Yes.
consultant for that.
Yes, we can do that in-house.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the variance. Okay.
Wait a minute. I think there's some people who want to speak on the topic, including me.
Okay, public comment. You signed up for public comment to speak on this, so go ahead and speak now. You have 2 minutes starting now.
All right, thank you. I don't think Javier's going to contend that he's an engineer, right? But there's a Harlingen city engineer. What does he suggest occur here?
He recommended approval of the variance as presented.
In the packet that was handed out to the commissioners, doesn't he suggest that it should be a minimum of 20 feet?
No, it's 40 feet from the center of...
No. Bigstall, to be precise. You know who Andy Bigstall is? Didn't he suggest, as Harlingen city engineer, that it go to 20 feet?
All right, you need to please address the city
That's fine.
commission and not the staff.
Well-
I mean, all this is,
Whether Javier looked at the packet that you all get and the world
cuts
as a
into your
whole get,
time.
it's amazing that the city engineer dissents from, well, you heard him for yourself, the cherry picking that he suggests, but you hired a city engineer for a purpose. There's a school right across the street, directly across the street. And as the invocation states, kids are important. They don't vote like the consent agendas, but they're important. Kids are important.
Okay. All right, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, consideration possible action to authorize the purchase of a Skeeter Ford F-550 Type 5 brush unit from Sidney Martin Emergency Group LLC for $195,225 through the buy board. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Commission.
We come before you respectfully requesting authorization and approval for the purchase of a brush truck from Siddons Martin Emergency Group through HGAC Buy Board for the purchase price of $195,225. The funding will be coming from the CDBG grant as approved in the meeting of July 21st of this year. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 6.
Thank you.
Consideration of possible action. Thank you, Chief. Consideration of possible action to approve the installation of street bumps on the following streets: Kingbird Drive between Viroli Lane and Red Oaks Avenue, Traxler Way between Bass Boulevard and the irrigation ditch, and El Cielo Lindo Court between Wilson and the cul-de-sac.
Mayor, the city engineer looked at these streets and they qualify for speed bumps. The ordinance requires 2 commissioners to put them on the agenda for approval. Once we do that, and if it's approved, we'll go to the final stage, which is traffic counts. If they meet the minimum counts, then we'll install the street humps after that. So staff recommends approval.
Motion for approval.
second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Item 7, board appointments.
I have none.
Okay, board appointments, board appointments, board appointments. No board appointments. Item 8, executive closed session regarding the following items. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0871 to discuss and deliberate regarding commercial and/or financial information that the city of Harlingen has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate or stay or expand in or near the city of Harlingen, and with which the city is conducting economic development negotiations related to Project Cube. B, an incentive with a business prospect described by Section 1, and C, consultation with legal counsel pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 to receive privileged attorney-client communications on a confidential matter. Is there a motion to go into executive session? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into executive session, meet with our lawyer, and deliberate some items. There may be action on items 9, 10, 11 when we return. Thank you.
let him take all the glory. Just Commissioner Perez is the only one after Commissioner Aida. They're wonderful. Good to see you.
Okay, we are out of executive session at 6:41, and we're going to go to item 9, consideration possible action to approve item 8A, Project Cube, as discussed in executive session. Is there a motion
Motion.
to approve the direction to staff as discussed in executive session?
I'll make a motion then to address to the staff the continuing negotiations with Project Cube and then keep us informed.
Is there a second?
Does that sound good?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. And we're going to pass item 10, there's no action to be taken, and pass item 11, no action to be taken. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our meeting, and we are adjourned. Thank you.